Hi, I'm Kila.
And I'm Ashley.
And we met on TikTok when our stories collided.
After we discussed our crazy, people wanted to tell us they're crazy.
So join us as we unpack a whole lot of crazy.
And we named this podcast after the one thing we definitely have in common, raising our mamas.
So welcome to Raising Barbara Jean and Wanda.
This episode of the Spread the Positive podcast is brought to you by the 1200 Club supporters. Huge shout out to our good friends, Mary Fugit with Gateway Title. For all of your real estate closing needs, be sure to hit up Mary over at Gateway Title. The team at Gateway is second to none, and we highly recommend them for all of your real estate transactions, refinancing needs, and anything of the sort. Please check them out. Huge thank you to Mary. As always, we love you. Casey Broach with KK Fitness Training. Casey is a personal trainer on the Faster Way app. She has actually gone through the Faster Way herself. This app has a crazy proven track record of helping people get to their fitness goals quicker with a healthier approach, and it's changing people's lives around the country and around the world. Casey is killing it in this area. She is passionate about helping people. She's done it herself, she believes in it, and she can walk you through this entire process. So be sure to check out at KK Fitness Training on Instagram, and you can reach out to her via email, kkfitnesstraining@gmail.com. Big shout out to you, Casey. Keep killing it. We appreciate your continued support of the 1200 Club here at Spread the Positive. Thank you so much. This episode is also brought to you by Philip Byard with Music City Hardscapes and Music City Pond Pros. Philip is a great example of all things STP, hardworking, impeccable reputation, and even better work in serving his customers. If you need any help in the hardscaping or pond maintenance world, please give my guy a shout. Be sure to check out Music City Pond Pros and musiccityhardscapes.com for more information. Huge shout out to you, Philip. Thank you for your continued support. Last but not least, this episode is brought to you by Pete Adams and Travis Swan over at Adams and Swan. Adams and Swan is your local advertising and digital marketing company that uses a results-driven approach to small and medium business revenue growth. They develop a custom strategy that is specific to your business and create dynamic advertising and digital marketing campaigns that deliver new clients and customers. Check them out at adamsandswan.com. Big shout out to my guys, Pete and Travis. Thank you for the support, guys. Means so much. Can't wait to have you in. Y'all be sure to check them out, adamsandswan.com.
Okay, so today
You have ruffles on your shirt?
Yes, it's Matilda Jane.
Oh, you fancy, huh?
Yes.
She fancy
Of course
like.
it's used, but we don't have to talk about that. So in today's episode, we have someone named Brandy Breeding, and I'll give you all of her credentials.
Is this your story before?
No, I got a story before, but I was just going to say I'm prefacing this like we do have somebody coming on, but that was several months ago when we recorded it. And funny little story is, so my sister said, "Do you follow Brandy on TikTok?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Yeah, she used to be a drug addict, blah, blah, blah." So I'm like, okay, cool. So I go down the rabbit hole of Brandy is Loud on TikTok, and her stories are hilarious and so crazy about her childhood. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the funniest thing ever. So I reach out to her and I'm like, hey, will you be on our podcast? And she's like, yes, I would love to, whatever. So we interview her. The interview goes great. It's funny. We find out that she has her own podcast, which is much more somber than what I knew about her, because Kila listened to the podcast. I watched the TikToks. The TikToks are hilarious.
Yes.
But the podcast is not that. It's very, it's deep, very deep.
Yes.
And you have to be, it's great. And I applaud her for doing it.
Yes.
It's amazing. But anyway, so we go through the whole interview and it's great. And she and I like talk back and forth or whatever. So I get to work and I'm telling my sister, I'm like, oh my gosh, I love Brandy. She's the greatest thing. And she was like, yeah, she was a drug addict and her daddy was a preacher. And I was like, no, she's never done drugs. And she was like, yes, she did. She did. She's only been sober for X amount. And I was like, no, she's never done drugs. And I was like, her daddy was not a preacher. Daddy buzzed her
Shaved
hair.
her head.
Yeah. And she was like, that's not the same Brandy. So turns out it's not even the same Brandy that my sister was like, you have to, get on this girl, because it's not even the same Brandy. But anyways, it turned out to be amazing. However, you'll hear all that and it's great. And follow her, Brandy is Loud, on TikTok. or her podcast is called Love Me, Don't Leave. I think you can get that anywhere you do podcasts. Anyways, here's a little.
So now we got to have another Brandy on.
Yes, we do. I will reach out to the other Brandy too, but I'm just going to be honest with you. That I don't know that you can top Brandy Breeding's stories, but
Yeah, she was pretty good.
however, go follow her on TikTok and all that and get caught up.
hair itches.
Hilarious. So this week, I own a little salon, right? And it's tiny little salon in tiny little town. Okay.
Are you going right into your story now?
Yeah. And we have a book swap, and it's a cool little idea. We have this big old box of books, and people bring books in, they take books, whatever. So our clients, as they're waiting, will usually dig through all the books. And
Do you have Hillbilly Elegy there?
I do not, because I have that on. I've already listened to it 3 times, just so y'all know. So anyways, a lot of our, clients are readers, so they'll dig through the books while they're waiting on their hair. So I brought a big stack of books from home that I've already read or whatever, and that I had in like a yard sale they didn't sell. So I was like, I'll just bring them. And it's like, Nora Roberts, Debbie McComb or whatever. So Jessica's just picks up one of them and she starts flipping through it. And y'all ain't going to believe what the hell's in the middle of this book.
What is it?
A roach.
Oh, dear.
Not
Oh,
a cockroach. A joint.
Oh, that
A
kind.
joint.
That's where my head went first.
Yeah. No. Ashes and a roach.
That's
Guess whose
amazing.
book that was before it became my book and then went into the shops?
Barbara Jean's.
Barbara Jean's damn book.
Wow.
I was like, I know the hell. You can't make this shit up.
No.
I said, out of all of the books.
Oh, did y'all smoke it?
No, it's like so dry that I'm pretty sure if we lit it up, it would just like evaporate.
Yeah.
But like there's ashes all in the center of the book, and there's like where she might have put it out. I don't know. And I was like, oh my God, how embarrassing would that have been if that would have sold at the yard sale?
Wow.
Or if one of our elderly clients that come in there and dig through our books all the
Did y'all
time.
go through the rest of the book?
No, but we need to. Anything that has, because I know it's mine because it still has $1 or 25 cents on the cover of it. So I was like, I will be damned. So Barbara Jean's still amazing us, almost 10 years
She
later.
just pops up.
Yes.
From the
It's
grave.
hilarious. I'm like,
That is so funny.
there's a roach. And I was like, somebody could have went to jail for simple possession. Didn't even know. Anyways,
I bought this at a yard sale.
they'd have been like, I got this at Sisters with Scissors. Like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Anyways, so that's my funny little story. And I don't really have any updates this week, but Keely, got anything before we get into the interview?
Why are you putting me on the spot?
That's
Because
what
I'm
we do.
Yeah, and I'm hungry.
Okay, Mountain Man.
He's scripty.
Mountains.
Mountain Man. What did I do? No.
No,
We
nothing
pictures
in.
went good with Christy. She
That's
was
great.
feeling better today.
That's good.
We started this ivermectin, and if it works, these doctors are going to be in for a rude awakening.
And if it works, Trina and I have agreed that Kila's probably going to be unalived. So what I'm going to do is be like, big pharma, woohoo, because anyways, but
That's how-
we're hoping
that's
that it
how it
works.
works.
We're praying that it works.
Oh, it's going to work.
And off the air, I'm going to be like,
You right. You
yeah,
right.
So
Yeah.
anyways, so we're just going to go right on into the interview and let
Yeah.
y'all know that buckle up. It is not for the weak.
And it's just not one. It's a 2-part.
It's a 2-part because it was.
It's a 2. It could be a 3-parter.
I honestly don't think we didn't even get through it, and we were actually going to interview her again to.
Yeah, we've got
wrap
to
it
bring
up.
her back.
Yeah, so we hope y'all enjoy it, and like I said, go to TikTok so that way I don't look like an evil sadistic. I only knew the funny part, and Kila come in like crying, and she was like, "Oh my God!"
She
I'm
had
so,
notes.
I researched.
yeah, she had like
she
a
had
whole
like a
page, and I'm
big
like,
thing
"What?
of
Her dad
notes.
shaved her head," and Kila's like, "Oh my gosh!" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I haven't listened to the podcast." But anyways, she's amazing, she's great, and here's the interview.
Hey, and listen, on another note, if the Hawk Tua girl wants to come on here, we
If
want
anybody
you.
knows her,
Yep, we want you.
Yep.
Haley Welch, I think is her name.
yep,
I might have been stalking her all day.
send her our way.
Yes. And
We
I
have a
figured you would
TikTok.
know somebody that knew her because y'all were from down yonder ways.
Yeah, we are
But-
down yonder.
She's amazing, and I love her. And, I mean, everybody Hawk Tua. That's just a way of life.
It's a whole lot of truth.
Yeah.
Just spit on it, they.
So
I had to say it. That little giggle at the end.
today
hate
was
to
the first
say
day
it.
I saw the video.
No
Like I knew what she
way.
was. I knew what she was and
No
what.
way.
I kept seeing it pop up on Google, like the Hawk Tua girl, and I never even.
Yeah, I knew what it was about, but I never saw the video.
Yeah.
And yeah, That's crazy.
And she ain't wrong.
And all the rumors that they started about her are not true. She was not a preschool teacher. Her daddy's not a preacher. None of that's true. So,
And that
Let's put that
merch
through.
bag is about to be crazy.
And I want to hear her story because I bet she's got a good story.
I bet so too. So if y'all know her, email her, send her our way. I will swing by and pick her up on the way up here.
Yeah, she ain't far.
And I will record the ride, because something's, monumental going to happen.
Yeah, that would be, bro.
Yeah.
Carpool karaoke.
Yes.
Or something with you
Yes.
two.
Yes.
Yep.
That shit would go
Yeah.
super viral.
So,
I know. I love her, though. She's country as cornbread and
yep.
lives with her granny still.
That's cute.
Props to her. I know.
That's so
love
cute.
it.
So we hope you enjoyed this episode.
Yep.
Remember, follow us on all the platforms, Barbara Jean and Wanda. And we have Barbara Jean and Wanda at gmail.com if you want to send us your story
Yep.
or
Dude, a
anything.
mailbag episode would be crazy.
Yes.
We should have a mailbag episode.
Okay. That's going to be in our, in my notes over here.
You mean
Hey,
like people send us emails?
yes.
Because they don't.
Well,
Kila,
they
you gotta
might,
pretend.
and
Fake
they
it till
could
you make it
send
correct.
DMs or
Yeah.
any
Yeah.
DMs.
And I
We
had
get
a
a lot
girl-
of messages on YouTube of all places. We've been getting
well,
some.
those, all of the above. Yes.
I had a girl that I was going to interview and I lost her freaking message. So I got to go back and figure that out. If you're listening, I swear I'm going to find you because it must be down in I've scrolled and I can't find it. She messaged me on TikTok. So if you have done that, I promise I will get back to you. So yeah, email us, follow us on TikTok or Trailer Park Chronicles or My Lost and Found. Yep.
Yep. Like and
Everything.
subscribe.
Yep.
And even tell them whores you don't like.
Exactly.
right.
And we'll
That's
see y'all next week.
Bye.
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 Welcome back.
Welcome.
We got some
back.
exciting news this week because Kila got a gift or present.
I did.
Tell us what you got, Kila.
I got a little grandbaby.
Yes. And she's beautiful. And I'm not just saying that because it's Kila's grandbaby, because if it's ugly, I would have just been like, oh, it's precious.
She all right.
Yeah.
No, she is so cute. She's so little.
Yes,
It's
she's
crazy.
precious. And you're head over heels.
I am. She's 4 pounds, 14 ounces today.
Oh, golly.
17 inches long.
And Kila called me yesterday and she said she wanted to bite her. And I said, well, she's not big enough for you to bite her yet. Like, you're going to have to let her get some meat on her bones
I like
before.
to bite the babies.
But yes, she does have a new grandbaby. And I'm sure there'll be pictures.
I know. Look, this is her little cousin who was born 3 weeks prior to her.
Oh, golly.
Look how bitty.
Bless it. How precious.
I know. She's so stinking
So
cute.
congratulations,
Little
Kila.
Miss Willa Mae. Mommy's doing good. Dad's precious. They're both so precious. It's all precious.
Everything's precious.
Yeah.
So today on our show, we have a girl that I met on TikTok. Actually, I was on a live on here, and she was like, oh, I've got some funny stories and blah, blah, whatever. And then I caught her, and I started listening to her stories, and we don't hold a damn candle to the shit this girl has been through. Her name is Brandy, and I need to write her TikTok handle down so everybody can follow her. But she has, her mom is like Barbara Jean times 10 and Wanda times 10.
She's a mixture of them.
Yes, she really is. She's like a hustler.
Man hustler.
Yep. And
fighting.
then, but she's also a fighter. So yeah, so we are so excited to have her on today. And we're going to put all the plugs out of her, TikTok and her podcast and all that. But, I thought that's what it was. Her TikTok is Brandy is Loud, BrandyIsLoud. So welcome, Brandy, everybody.
Yes, we're
Hello.
excited.
Brandy.
Hello.
Kila, your phone's playing.
Oh, I'm playing. Brandy.
I was like, hey, I heard me.
So I will be honest with you. I don't get to get on TikTok a lot because of the littles. And when I get
Yeah.
on TikTok, I'm on there for hours. So
Yeah, me too.
I try not to get on there. I try to just like play my little game when I have like spare time. So, but my sister, she said, you've seen Brandy, right? And I was like, I think, because we have another Brandy that follows us, and she was like, no, this one's got like crazy stories. And so I know. She sent it to me or something. Anyways, I was like, oh, holy shit. And then I went back and I was like, wait, we've talked. This is the same girl. So, holy crap. You've had some crazy ass stories.
I
And
know.
some of my like encounters with mom, like maybe they didn't happen. Like yours actually did happen. And it's freaking hilarious. But the one that, okay, I'm going to let you tell your own story. But
no, you're fine.
so how should we start this? Like, let her give a synopsis of her life, or
Yes.
yes, just give us a brief. You don't have to super detailed, but so there's 2 kids with mom, right?
Yeah, me and my brother Steven.
And
I'm
then
Brandy,
Dad had,
so, yeah.
yes, and Dad had one more.
Yeah, he had one with Michelle, the lady got smacked that day. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So mom and dad were separated
Yeah.
like early on, right?
Yeah, they got married when they were young. My mom was like 19 and they had me and everything was good. And then like when my brother came, my dad was just like a raging alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just kind of split up and got divorced like when he was like 3 months old. So it was like they've always been separated since for as long as I can remember.
What's the age difference between you and your brother?
We're 18 months apart.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was
Me
curious
and this
about that.
brother. Now my younger brother Jonathan, he's like 31, I think. Yeah.
Are you 40 yet?
Yeah, I'll be 40 in July.
Okay, I
Creeping
turned
up
40
on
in
me.
June, so I'll be 41.
Yeah.
I gotcha. So, what was I going to ask you? Well, similarly, my dad did the same exact thing with my mom whenever she got pregnant with my sister. He accused her of cheating and it wasn't his kid and all this and so whatever. But it's when I heard that, I was like, that's the same exact thing that happened. And then they kind of went back and my mom and dad went back and forth for a few years and then she left him and then he come down to the trailer park for 1 week and she got pregnant with me and here I am. So thanks. Anyways.
That sounds like my life a little bit because my dad lived like when I was like 10 years old, we moved into these duplexes, which I always say they're like a trailer park because
exactly
that's exactly how it was. And he lived like 3 duplexes down from me forever. Like in that way, it's like seeing like a neighbor.
Yes.
He was like, hey, how you doing? That's my dad.
Gotcha. So you have kids too now, right?
Yes, and I'm a grandma.
Oh, that's awesome.
Isn't it fun?
Yes, I love it.
Kila just became a grandma this past week.
I love it.
We're 9 days in.
Yep.
Oh, I love it. My granddaughter, her name is Lila, and she'll be 2 in August.
Precious.
Aww.
Yeah.
That's precious.
I have Miss Willa May.
Oh, I
Oh,
love it. Mine's Lila Wren. That's what they named her.
I love the name Marianne.
Oh, I do too. Okay, I want to ask, how did you get started on TikTok? And then we'll go back.
No.
Honestly, my daughter a couple years ago was like making dances up, and it's crazy. I'm weirdly got like a lot of different talents. I can do a lot of different things. And she was like, let's dance. So I've always been a dancer. So I started it like that. And then one day I don't even know how it happened to me start talking. Like one day I just started talking and then I was waiting on my mom like last month and she was like doing crazy shit. She was upstairs moving around, touching a bunch of shit. And I was like, I'm going down to the car. It's hot up here. 'Cause she lives in these projects downtown. And it was like so hot. And I just felt like things were crawling on me. I was like, I gotta get the hell out of here. So I go down to the car and I'm waiting for her because I'm taking her to the grocery store. And as I'm down there, I was like, I'm going to make a TikTok about when my mom beat up the guidance counselor. I just thought it would be so funny. And I was not even expecting it because I was only getting like 100 views on my stuff. But I always knew that with my humor, I always, in the back of my head, I was like, I got to always make content. Well, regardless of if anybody's looking at it, I never cared about the views. I never cared if people even looked at it. I just got on there and talked. And I just made a bunch of videos this past 6 months to a year just making them. And then now, because I've made so many, they're just, now everybody's watching them. I don't really have to do anything. I'm just sitting here. And it's like my stuff just keeps growing because I've had so many videos just be from the past where I've done different things. And that's how it's working. But
that's awesome.
That's how that started. I was just down waiting on her. I even told her, I said, I told TikTok a story about you. And she was like, which one? And I was like, the one where you beat up too. She's like, yeah, fuck her. And I was like, all right.
Actually, can you tell us that story? Because that was the story that I saw. And I was like, oh my God, that's Barbara Jean.
So I was bad in school. Well, I had attention deficit disorder. So they just had me kind of put me classroom to classroom because I was so bad.
And let me put a preface in here. We also have attention deficit disorder. And I think it kind of comes with our background and just the chemical imbalance that comes with the just erratic ass life that we live. But go ahead. Sorry.
Parental imbalance?
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was going to school at Rutherford Elementary here in Louisville. I'm a very detailed person. It's like my memory.
I am too. So don't worry about that. I'm very detailed.
And I just remember them calling me down to the office one day. And I remember getting down there and I was like, what are we here for? And they were like, oh, we called your mom. And I remember doing like a double take and was like, you did what? I was like, my mom's not even supposed to be here around me like right now. My grandma has custody. I just remember saying, my grandma has custody. What'd you call her for? The next thing you know, the door kicks open and she's like standing there in this fucking jogging pants that were green with paint on them, no bra. The shirt was like half the size that like down to her knees. My mom's short like me. Me and my mom look like we could be twins. She just looks a little bit older. It's crazy. And she's standing there, hair messed up. She has these big glasses on, this big coat. And I don't even know why this coat was on her because it was like hot outside. And she comes, she's like,
trying to cover up the titties.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. She needed to cover the titties up. And she's like, what the fuck am I doing here? And I was like, you don't want her here. We're all in trouble now. And I just remember sitting there so anxious. I was like, what the fuck? And she comes sitting over there. She comes strolling over and sits beside me. And they're like, we're going to fail her. And she was like, you're not fucking failing her. And I was just like looking at them back and forth doing this, like left and right, just watching. My mom's like, you're not fucking failing her. God touch was like, yes, we are, Miss Summit. I think that's what her name was at the time. No, McCoy. She's been married like 10 times. So I was like, are you guys still here? Because I just switched to the screen and I don't see y'all anymore.
We can hear you, so that's good.
You want her to continue? Yeah, keep on going.
Okay.
Brandy.
All right. Sorry. It went off and I was like, should I keep going? Okay.
Yeah,
so
you're good.
The guidance counselor and her were going back and forth and I was just sitting there watching them. And the guidance counselor kept having like kind of an attitude and was like just looking at my mom all judgy and stuff and just saying like little smart ass things to her. My mom grabbed this paper out of the middle of the table and slammed it down. She said, read this motherfucker. And if you don't read it, I'm knocking your fucking teeth down your throat. I'm smacking this bitch and I'm going to jail and sleeping for the night. And my mom had a hangover. She was drunk or must have been still drunk or something.
Right.
And so I read like a paragraph and then she says, see, bitch, she can read. And then I'm just sitting there and I was like, yeah, I can read. And then they just started arguing. Next thing I know, the lady's like, you need to get out of here or something. My mom said, I ain't going to fucking place and you're not fucking failing. And then snatches her over the table, grabs her and slams her down like with her throat. My mom's holding her by the throat, holding her there. The other lady's like, I'm calling the cops. My mom said, bitch, you're going to need the cops because I'm coming for you next. I was like, just sitting in the middle of it. And I didn't budge. They said I just sat there the entire time calmly watching her choke this lady out. Finally, we're sitting there. My mom's like, get up and shut the door. So I get up and I'm like looking at this lady and I get up and I shut the door slowly and I'm looking at her. She's looking at me. I'm like, what do you want me to fucking do? We're being held hostage here.
Right.
Like, what do you want me to do? She's crazy. I ain't saying nothing to her. So the lady's looking at me. I'm looking at her. She's like, I'm calling the police. She's mouthing it to me through the window. I was like, call them. We're going to need them.
Right.
Call them.
Call SWAT.
Somebody. And then I swear it felt like SWAT to me. It probably was just a couple police officers. But for me as a kid seeing that shit, they come busting through the door. They slammed her down. She was resisting arrest. It was just crazy. And that was just like a normal Wednesday with her. She was rolling around on the ground with one cop. I was like, God, I'm going to tell grandma when I get home.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
You're like, and I told y'all not to call her.
I was like, I told y'all not to call her. We're all in trouble. I remember saying it like to them a lot. They never called her again. They hated me all the way until I graduated.
I was going to ask that.
Yeah. They wouldn't even call her anymore. They just let me do whatever I wanted after that. I was bad too. And I did a lot of bad things just because I was mad at them. Right. But it was crazy.
How long did she stay in jail for that?
I think she was only in jail. She got a assault. I think it was assault for. It got misdemeanor down or something. I don't know. It got knocked down to assault 4 or something. It was a misdemeanor. It wasn't nothing bad. She didn't have to go to prison for it, but she was out like in 2 weeks. But my mom was do little stints like that in Jefferson County jail here. You'd rather go to prison than be in a Jefferson County jail here. Because it's awful. Yeah. So she did that down there like it was nothing. And I was like, no, I could never do that in my head.
See, our jail was more like Mayberry. Like, my mom was a trustee. She got to get out. Well, until she told the one detective that she was glad his wife blowed his balls off. And then she got laid down. But before that, she got to she didn't get to leave the facility, but the men did. And I could call up there and be like, hey, can I come see my mom? Because I need to ask her a question. And they'd be like, yeah, it's fine. And she'd go out on the bench and smoke. And so she never actually did prison, which I'm surprised. We were totally shocked that she never did prison time. But
Yeah,
My
the
God.
prison here it used to be. It still is a woman's prison. It's a maximum, or it used to be a maximum, and it got down to a minimum security prison. It's called Pee Wee Valley Correctional Facility. It's here in like Oldham County, which is like a bit like kind of off of Louisville, Kentucky, and you was allowed to stay the night there. Like they had like I remember going and staying the weekend with my mom while she was in prison when I was a little kid. Yeah. Yeah. They stopped that shit, but yeah. When my dad had us, he took us to visit one time and I remember staying there for the weekend.
Wow.
It was so minimum. And now I think it's maximum. I know they don't do this shit now. I know
Right.
they don't do this shit
No, because
now.
you know people be putting shit in their babies. And shit.
I used to love going to like every weekend we would do prison like and different like family members and stuff, and I would just like that because we were so poor. I'd like to get to eat out like at KFC and stuff.
Yes, and the
So I was like,
snack machines.
Yes, the snack machines. I'd
Yes.
be so hot. I'd be so happy in there.
Mm-hmm. Same. My mom would be like, "Here, I'll give you a dollar." Like she's in jail, which I probably just gave her the dollar, but she'd give it back to me so I could run to the snack machine.
Right.
Okay. Also, let's talk about the time that you woke up like your idol, Sinead O'Connor, who you didn't even realize was your idol.
Yeah, that's a crazy story.
It is. So my dad was like a severe alcoholic. I don't know what the fuck people were thinking leaving us with him in general. I used to be like, I used to sit around and think, because like at 4 or 5, I was doing everything that like adult teenagers do. I was cooking, cleaning, everything. And we were living in some like a HUD housing, which is like kind of like Section 8.
Yes, we had
and
HUD
like,
house.
Yeah, like my dad would just like, we had a full 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment. It was really nice. And he was just an alcoholic. He would come and go. I just remember me and my brother being there. And this one night he was there and he woke me up in the middle of the night. I'll never forget. I had like New Kids on the Block sheets.
Mm-hmm.
And this happened around the same time, if I'm correct, a long time ago. One of the New Kids on the Blocks like burnt down one of Louisville's hotels on accident or did it on purpose and went to jail. It was like a big story because they were big when they did it. But I remember it being around this time. And my dad wakes me up and he goes, "Come here for a minute." I was like, "What in the hell?" So I go in there and I'm like standing there and he's like, he has this joint in his hand. He's like, "I just want to let you know this is going to be my last smoke." And then when I
Okay, first of all, why they get revelations in the middle of the night?
I don't fucking
Bitch,
know.
we're all sleeping. So.
Like, I got to be at school in the morning. What
Could you tell me
doing?
this in the morning? But go ahead,
Right.
sorry.
No, you're fine. And I thought the same thing. Like, all drunks do that. They're like,
Yes.
ooh, it's such a trigger for me. Like, when I'll get on that. Like, I got ADD. I'll jump off. But I go in the bathroom. He shows me this joint, and he's like, "This is going to be the last weed I smoke." And I was like, "All right, Dad." And my dad, my dad was a huge music lover, and I think that's how I'm like how I am with music. And he just would have music playing at all times. I mean, loud as fuck. I don't know why nobody called the cops. Like,
see, that's a
how
trigger
loud
for
it
me
is.
and my sister because our mom was a big music lover, and so when the music gets real loud, especially like Southern rock or anything, it's like a trigger. It's like, okay, we need to calm it down.
I got
Sorry,
too
go
much going the fuck on. That's
Yes.
all.
Yes.
Like, can we turn it the fuck down?
Yes.
And somehow Sinead O'Connor's song "Nothing Compared to You" was playing in the background, and I literally, this is all I said. I said, "I like this song," because it's awkward. You're staring at me all weirdly. You got a joint in your head. You're ripped. My dad I can't even explain. My dad had one of them 70 haircuts, and I just, all I can explain it. Like, he had that big booth, but it came down, you know?
Yeah.
And
was it feathered?
Yes, feathered out. Like, and he was staring at me weirdly, and I was just like, I like this song, because I was like, that's how I diverted situations.
Yes.
And he was like, "Do you?" I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
I do.
Okay.
And then
Can I
I
go
was
back
like,
to
all right,
bed?
all right, good night. See you later. And I go to bed. I'm not shitting you. When I wake up, I was like, I remember just wiping my eyes. This shit's so funny. I remember wiping my eyes and I just raised up. And when I did, my hair stayed on the fucking pillow. And I was like, and I just remember looking back thinking I was in a dream. And my hair was this long, like I had very long, pretty hair.
Yeah.
And I look back and I look forward and I look back and I start feeling my hair and it's patchy. So I really thought I was in a dream. And then I hear Steven say, "Oh my God," because he's asleep on the other side of the room in his bed. I hear him say, "Oh my God." And I jump up real quick and I'm freaking out. Like I'm screaming, crying. I'm feeling the patches on my hair. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Of course, as a kid, I'm not saying that, but I'm in my head thinking, what the fuck? So I go wake him up. I was like, hey, what the fuck? What's wrong with my hair? And he was like, oh, come here. And he grabs these clippers and he finishes it off. But he leaves a rat tail, like a patch, like a circular. He like did like a circle around my head in the back with my hair. And left the rat tail as long as my hair, that my natural hair looked length. And was like, go to school. I was like, what? I'm not. And I remember crying there and going, I ain't going to fucking place. And he was like, you're going to school. I was like, ah. So I grabbed this. Here in Louisville, we have this thing called Cozair for Children. It's the children's hospital down here. And everybody in Louisville knows that they have these white hats. In the 90s, they had these white hats with this orange-ass bill. And I grabbed it and threw it on my head and grabbed my brother. And we walked 7 blocks to the school because this is downtown Louisville, to Englehart Elementary. And I get in the classroom. Well, first, before I get in the classroom, I see my cousin Nikki, which I call her my sister. And I said, hey, like that. And she just looked at me. I looked at her. She looked at me and she took off running. She wouldn't talk to me. I was like, that bitch. And so I go into the class and I'm sitting in the class and I had this hat on. And she goes, all right, Miss Breeding, I'm going to need you to take off this hat. And I was like, oh, I'm not taking this hat off. And she's like, you're taking that hat off. I was like, I'm not taking this hat off. And I'm looking at her while she's looking at me. And this little boy that I liked in front of me, he was so cute. And she comes over and just takes the hat off. And my rat tail falls out because I had it turned up at the top. So the rat tail's like falling down my face. It was fucked up. But it's so funny. I tell everybody that. And I say, all this because I fucking said I like Sinead O'Connor to a drunk man. And now, when Nothing Compares to You comes on, I be hearing clippers in the background. It's a fucking mess.
I guess you just let it grow out. Did you cut the rat tail off? Or?
Yeah, well, no. Like, he left the rat tail and would braid it and shit. I would put it.
Not the braided rat tail.
And so, at this time, though, your mom was in jail, right?
Oh, yeah. And when he took us to visit her, I thought she was going to kill him. She had to get in solitary because she was so mad. She tried to choke him over the... It was wild. She's ready to kill him.
And how old were you when that happened?
I want to say about 5 years old.
Jeez.
I was just in kindergarten. My brother was in pre-K in the, like, they have these buildings. They're these little container buildings they put the little kids in on the outside of it.
Yeah.
That's where he was. So I dropped him off there. So I know I had to be 5 because I was in kindergarten.
Oh, wow.
And so, and then when you got home, is this when your dad pushed your brother down the stairs?
Around that time, I don't know if some of it's like blurry, but I just remember the place where we lived and I remember when it happened. And my dad hated my brother. My dad was really mean to my brother. And it was the opposite when I was with my mom. Like me and her always butted heads and she babied him all the time, which would make me kick his ass because I was pissed because she was giving him attention. And we would just go back and forth. But we're super close. It's crazy. I guess the war stories to get holding us together.
Oh, yeah. You trauma bond for sure with your siblings.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Lord.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Okay. So I was going to ask. So then, because I listened to I listened to everything today.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was so intrigued.
I know. I get a little. Sometimes I like get on there and I kind of feel like I'll just keep talking.
I think you're amazing the way you tell your story. It's really good.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, I think it's really good. It keeps everybody's attention.
See, that's why I was worried because you know how sometimes people have like a lot of things like sound. Like I have another podcast, a true crime one that we do all kind of sounds and stuff. And then I'm like never like I feel like I have to be on funny all the time on it. But like with that one, I was just like randomly there. Like my friend said, why don't you just like record yourself talking and make that like therapy? Because I lost my insurance and I didn't have no therapy. So I was like, I have to do something or I'm going to go out here and be on the news. So I better figure it out. So that's what I started doing.
I love the way you started it. You kind of told about your mom and dad before they were married or while they were married and how your dad was. And because you said your mom was kind of different before.
Yeah. She never did drugs, alcohol, or none of that stuff up until like she started drinking heavily after they split up. But she didn't get into drugs until she was like 30 something. Like she was a little bit older, but she still was wild drinking and stuff. But
That's very similar to my mom. My mom was I wasn't born, but my sister says that she was an amazing mom before her and my dad split up, and then she went off the deep end and started drinking, and she would smoke pot and stuff, but that was pretty much the extent of it until I guess her and our stories are very similar. Like it's crazy how when you tell it, I'm like, it's literally the same thing. But it's the same. I didn't get that mom because my mom was already in full addiction whenever I was born. But my sister said no, she would play with us. She made sure that we were clean. You know,
that's what they tell me too. When I was a baby, I was like, that's so fucking weird.
Yes, yes, so weird.
And then I love at the end of your podcast how you tell everybody to love their kids and hug them and listen to them. Like we don't think about things like that. We just make fun of ours.
I do.
Exactly.
I make fun of mine too. Believe me, I am a heavily kid roaster. My niece, she has a little baby. It's like a year old. We've been beefing since it's been born. I tell her every time I see it, I'm like, motherfucker,
yes,
I'm on you. Mm-hmm. And then like I walk off and she's like, Brandy, people are going to take you serious. I was like, I don't give a fuck people think about me. We
do the same thing with our kids at the shop. We'll be in there, not we'll be talking shit to the kids, and the customers be looking. I'm like, yeah, this is just how we talk to the kids. Right. But
they know that we're fucking good. You don't know where we came from.
That like you're so loved, and it's so amazing that you have overcome and that you have all these stories and all this experience, but you're like you're like shining now. And I said I'm so grateful that we get to have her on before she becomes
I'm grateful
huge.
for you guys.
Because we're gonna get to be like, yeah, bitch, we got to interview her before she's big.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Well, I was more excited than you guys, but somebody else popular liked my stuff and wrote on it. I didn't even know. Well, I used to watch Teen Mom, but I wasn't like.
Who was it? I love Teen Mom.
I do too.
It's my favorite one. She's a lot of people's not her favorite. A lot of people
not
like
is
her.
it Kale?
Yeah. Is that Amber?
Kale,
not Amber.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't like.
A lot
Amber.
of people think that I look like Amber. They used to say that stuff to me, and I'd be like,
"See, I think you look like Kale."
See, that's what a lot of people told me that too when I was growing up. I was like, man, if they had me on fucking
Teen
Mom, they would have been.
I kind of like Kale. You don't like Kale?
No, I like Kale. It's Amber
Kale.
Amber just had a lot of issues that I feel like she shouldn't have been on the show. It was she was raised like
been
us.
On that fucking show.
Yeah, right. I saw. Let me tell you, I saw. Whose mama did I saw? I saw Caitlin's mama in Universal, and you'd have thought I saw Tiger Woods.
That's how I'd act if it was.
I didn't go up to her because I don't know what to say, but I was like, and this is ugly, and I hope if she sees this, April, I'm real sorry, but she has false teeth.
Yeah.
And some people you can just tell they got false teeth.
Yes, you can. Yeah.
And as soon as I saw her, I was like, I know that bitch. I know that bitch because of her teeth. I know that bitch. And I was like, I mean, she looks like somebody my mama would have hung out with, but I was like, I know nobody that my mama hung out with is at Universal Studios because they're mostly dead now. But
right, same.
I'm sitting there, I'm like racking my brain. I'm like, it's Caitlin's mom. Yeah. And my husband's like, who's Caitlin? I'm like, you don't need to worry about it. But I texted her too and was like, are you at Universal? Of course, she didn't see it till later, and then she was probably like, stalker. And I was like, no, I'm too lazy to stalk. But anyways, it was.
Oh,
her.
I stalk. I'm like the FBI. I tell people, and I'm just crazy, but I think a lot of that has to do with the childhood I grew up in. Like our parents, you remember how you were talking about when the men leave, they fall apart. Mm-hmm. And then that's all I've really started. That made me look back into, because I used to be the same way, anxious, like our attachment styles and how we was. Our parents were anxiously attached and attached to them. And when they left, it was like their identity left.
Correct.
So I would always be, so I started studying psychology just to see why was I couldn't figure out why I was the way I was. Yes. How I remembered and how I was so self-aware as young as I was. And everybody's like, well, you have trauma. You should forget. I don't know how you
forgot everything, but my sister remembers everything. I forgot. I don't know anything. She can be like, remember this time? Nothing. Yeah. But she's like you. She remembers everything.
I don't remember happy stuff. That's the thing that sucks is people say, well, don't you remember your happiness? I was like, I don't remember a fucking thing happy from 10 and under. That's
me. If I remember anything, it's nothing ever good ever. Yeah. And certain things trigger like, oh my gosh, I just now remembered this or smell or, something will come. I'm like, oh my God, I just remembered this. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't remember any of the happy times. So I feel bad because I feel like all of my stories are always negative. I mean, they're funny as hell, but they're kind of shitty on the parents. And I'm like, that's all I remember though.
I know. I feel the same way when I'm telling them. Like, I feel so bad because, like, if this got big right when my mother had just paid for my tummy tuck.
Mhm.
Like she paid for everything for me. And I felt like there for a minute I was going to take it down because I was like, I don't want people to like start talking bad about her.
Right.
Like, and say a lot of bad things. Like, and I feel protective of her because I look back and I think, well, fuck, she was going through the shit that, you know.
Right. Because
Everybody
you're
goes
like
through.
us. You raised your mom like we raised
Yeah.
our mom. Like, yeah, that's just, and it's like your kid. And like at
Yeah.
the end of our show, we say we can talk shit about our moms, but nobody else can.
Yeah, I
that's-
got your first episode. I was listening to it in the car on the way because I'm in the car most of the time with my job. And I was listening to y'all's podcast yesterday and today. I got through the half one finally because I had to get out and do things. But I was like, I really like this. I was like, I like them. And then I had watched, you know, I watched your videos on TikTok and I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, these are
Yeah.
my people.
Yes.
They understand.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm curious because you said that your dad gets involved with church.
Yeah, he was severely, I don't know what he was like a.
You know,
He's
mental
like-
illness does that. Like they usually go like extreme, like
Well,
religious or.
Yeah, I found out that my dad, like his family was fucked. So what I've been writing a book, and I wanted to get deeper into what was wrong with my dad, why he was the way he was. Apparently, he had a fucked up childhood too. Like his mom didn't even really like him that much, and they was in foster care on and off.
Oh.
Huh.
So I don't know. That's all I got on him so far because I never really fucked with him that much. And when he died, I took it like you would have thought that was my brother dying. That's how bad I took it. I
Yeah,
couldn't
of course
figure
it's
out why.
final.
Yeah, because I was
And
like,
in our
"Oh."
lives, everything
Yeah.
is, you know, it's come and go. It's in and out. And then when it's
Mhm.
final, it's like, whoa, we don't, yeah.
Even though you
Yeah.
you think you prepare yourself all the years and all the stuff that they do, it's never
Mhm.
it's never enough preparation.
Yeah.
But still,
I know. I always feel like that. I always used to think, well, my mom's invincible. Nothing's going to happen to her. She's not going to die. That's fucking crazy. That's crazy talk. And I used to be like, oh, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. But honestly, now that I'm getting older, I don't think I'm going to be fine. I think it's going to really fuck me up. Probably worse than what my dad did, but I'll get through it with humor, like always. But
Right. Yeah.
think about those kind of things.
When my mom died, it took me a solid year. It was just, I couldn't figure out how the world just like mine stopped, but then it did get easier and better. And then we started really talking about like the trauma and laughing about it. And it was like, because she never said she was sorry or like apologized to us. And then, you know, when I was young, I was like, I don't understand that. But now I realize like she had so much trauma herself that she was doing what she knew.
Yeah, at the time.
And I'm not going to say she did the best she could do, but she knew what she knew, and that's it. You know,
That's what I tell. That's what I say to everybody.
Yep.
I say, you know, in my 20s, I used to be like, "Why are you the way you are?" And I would try to change her so much. I
Yes.
spent a lot of my 20s trying to just to get her to understand, just to get her to see. And then finally, I realized one day I need to stop and just let her be who she is, and I let it go. And ever since I did that and just let her be who she is, even if it's fucked up, even if it's so crazy, I just accepted it and I moved on because it was bringing me down. Because I was like, why couldn't you just be fucking normal?
Yes.
You know, I
because
get so
they
mad.
probably think that they were doing a better job than what they were, how they were raised.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
yeah.
they're
Say
like,
that.
well, you know, what do you mean I'm a bad mom?
Because my mom was sexually assaulted as a kid and we never were, so that was like her one up, like, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, it was by a sheer miracle that we weren't. I mean, because it wasn't like you were up and aware half the time. You were passed out and there's
How would
drunks
you know?
everywhere.
Yeah.
Right, like God literally protected us from that. So like she did feel, she really felt like, oh, I did, and she was more in tune with her kids than her mom was.
Yeah, that's
so
how
there
it
was that. But
she thinks because she didn't leave like because she'd say, won't you just, she would say, my dad, we kind of think that he was bisexual and stuff.
Yeah.
But like she would just, my mom is really wild and says really crazy things. So she like would be like, won't you go with your, she would say the FAG. We're probably have to edit this out, but she would say, you go with your little faggot daddy. And I'll be like, oh my God, like you don't know if he's gay or not. Like, why are you saying that about him? She'd be so
that shit's normal.
She'd be so mad. Like she would be like, you and your fucking faggot ass daddy. And I'll be like, just sitting there. She would just roast him in my ear for 20 minutes. Oh, what? You think your dad wants to take you? Because he don't even fucking come around. He's with them guys. I was like,
yeah.
I'm 7. Like, I don't need to know about these kind of things. And that's just how she was. Like my mom is like really.
My mom.
I can't take her on. I could never put her on TikTok. You know, people keep asking me, and I'm like, no.
Yes.
I will never have an account again.
Right.
Ever.
And the feds will be after y'all or something.
Yeah, I'm
It'll
always
be
worried.
some kind of.
My brother said, "You need to watch what you're saying on there." I was like, "What?" And he was like, "I don't know. What do you be talking? Like, don't be saying nothing about me." Because my brother's been in prison and everything.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Don't be saying nothing about me." I was like, "I just say stuff that's factual. I'm not gonna like snitch you out. You ain't gonna go back to prison." He's like, "Well, I am on parole." Like, oh yeah, that's right.
That's like the time that my brother went to, I'll just tell it. He went to Arizona when my mom was in jail and picked up some pot, and he came back and he was selling it, and we were living freaking, we were in high cotton, honey. And of course I didn't say that for a long time because I thought I'm like, I'm pretty sure there's a statute of limitations. That was in like 97. I don't think anybody's coming back to get him for his black trash bags full of pot. Like, it's cool.
My brother and them were on the news. They did that. I don't know. You might have edited this out. I'm not sure yet. But, he's on probation right now. He spent 3.5 years in federal penitentiary because he would go down and have like a group of people with him, and they would go to Florida, and he'd pay them $500 each, like 10 of them. And they would go to Florida, and it'd be a free trip because they're crackheads. They don't care.
Right.
And you would go in this place, and he'd pay you, and you get a script. So you would get roxycodones, 10s, 20s, 30s.
Yeah.
And you would get an entire script and Xanax bars. And he'd take you to go fill them. And once he paid for all of that, he would take the money and only pay you $500 for the script. And then he would come back to Kentucky and flip the script and make about $5 to $10 grand on each person that was going. And he did that for a good amount of time, him with some other people. But then they caught him, and he was on video. Like, this is all in the court, so I don't think it has to be edited, but he ended up getting caught on camera to count out $1 million. And my brother was like, "Yeah, I've touched $1 million in my hands." I was like, "Yeah, and you went to prison too, dumbass."
Right.
Like,
that reminds me of We're the Millers. One of those crackheads was probably like, "I made $600." They're like, "Wait, you're getting paid?" I just wanted to ride.
I would go with them sometimes just to go because I knew what was going on, but I wasn't participating in no illegal activities because I had a kid and I didn't want to do that. So I always steered away from drugs. I never did drugs. I never drank. I mean, I did them, but I wouldn't do them in excess to do anything crazy. So like it'd be socially, I would drink, it's very rare if I go drink or smoke weed or something like that. But like, it's just something I'm always scared I'm going to become an addict. So I'm like, but immediately when I had pain pills, like as soon as they were done, as soon as I stopped feeling pain, I threw them away.
Yes.
I was like, I'm not doing those. Because that's my biggest fear. Like, oh my God, my mom was in her 30s. What happens if I fucking one of these days, like just because, like my biggest fear is to be a crackhead. Like, because I've made fun of them so much in my life.
Yes.
No offense, I'm not making fun of people on drugs, but it's just they're funny. They're a different breed.
They are.
They're like zombies.
Yes. I'm the same way. I got put on ADHD medicine, and I had to ask a psychiatrist. I was like, "Am I going to start selling my furniture?" And he was
I'm
like,
on Adderall right now.
We are too. And we both are. We are too.
It makes me normal. Like,
yes.
It makes me normal.
I was like kind of fucked up with it though, because I was like, wait, I know that people like, it's not like a big drug that they sell, but like college students and stuff. And so I didn't ask the psychiatrist. I was like, am I going to start selling my furniture? And he was like, why would you do that?
Do you do that when you get prescriptions because of your past?
Yeah.
Do you not tell people what you got? Because
no.
You're scared to death that somebody's going to rob you?
No, I don't. At work, I don't even say. I just say, like, I'll be quiet. Like, I just say, I took my medicine today. But no, I don't ever tell anybody, same things. I'm like, they're going to be like, I'm like, I take the lowest dose they have.
Me too.
You're not going to get anything off of it, but yeah.
Yeah, they're like, I'm so embarrassed to tell people now that I'm on Adderall. Well, now the world knows. I don't give a fuck. But it's like, I get so embarrassed to be like, I'm on Adderall. But it changed my life because I have obsessive thinking. Like, I tell motherfuckers, I'm the wrong bitch you want to lie to. Because one, my brain records all day long. I swear it's like a weird thing that I have. Photographic memory, all this shit. And when I lay down at night, I can't sleep immediately because trauma. So I just lay there and overthink everything. And I'll start connecting the dots. And you don't want me to come up with no shit. Because if I start connecting dots and start seeing shit, I'm going to really believe what I really have seen.
Right.
And then that's led me. And I always trust my instincts is what I just tell people. And I would be overthinking so much I couldn't sleep. Like I was going to the point to where I was only sleeping 3 to 4 hours a night. And I was like, this ain't fucking normal.
Right.
So then I went to the doctor and they were like, yeah, you have attention deficit disorder. I was like, well, duh. And every other disorder y'all want to throw on me.
Yes.
I mean, my husband gets mad whenever, because he believes everything everybody says.
Yeah.
And I'm
Oh.
like, that's not true.
Yeah, my husband a little bit does.
And like, especially our kids, they could tell him something and he's like, oh, well, yeah. And I'm like, they lie like a dog.
Yeah.
And then I would start asking questions. He's like, you're so judgmental. And I'm like, I'm not judgmental. I just know they're lying.
Right.
Yeah, like that's
like,
how I am.
He doesn't ask questions. He just
Takes
you
it
tell
for
him
what they say.
something,
Yeah.
He believes you. And I'm like, you're dumb because no, you should
Yeah.
believe that.
Right.
It's not what happened.
I question everything about everybody. My
Me
job that I do is I'm a caregiver and I'm recruiting for a caregiving company. And a lot of times I was like, hey, we need to investigate these people before we hire them. And I'll go through their Facebook. I'll be 14 pages deep looking into people's shit. And they're like,
Yes.
Brandy, we didn't need you to go that deep. I was like, all right.
Girl, I can't even go to church because I'll be in there like fake. She's
Yeah.
fake,
Right?
fake. And Hagen's
I'm like,
like, yeah,
when's
but
he
they're at
coming
church. I'm like,
back?
fake.
Never.
Fake. He's lying.
Yeah. Or if we go to if we tailgate at the Titans games, I'm like, you got to put our tent up and lock it up. And he's like, well, no, we're not going to take it down. I'm like, yeah, you are. Somebody will steal it.
Right.
I'm the
And he's
same
like, look
way.
at all this stuff. I mean, people are not stealing stuff. I'm like, they'll steal ours. You put it up.
Right.
Yeah, somebody's stealing something.
Yes.
I lock everything. And my friend was like, "You're just walking over to because Dollar General's like right behind my apartments."
Uh-huh.
And they're like, "Do you lock your door and you just walk over?" Fuck yeah, I do. I got a
Yeah.
Ring camera on my thing. I'm ready. And
Yes.
I move and I live upstairs because I'm in my head. I think somebody's going. I don't know what it is. Somebody gonna come in and try to rape me. Like, and I'm in my head. I'm thinking, yeah, you ain't getting me, motherfucker. And I say, I got this Ring camera and I got a camera that hits. At least I'm gonna know before you get to me. They have
That's
to kick
right.
in the door. That's why I get a second story. That's why I go up on the second floor. Everybody's like, "Why do you live up here? Why don't you live on the
Yes.
ground?" I said, "So nobody can break in and kill me in my
And you
sleep."
can't be peeping in my windows.
Yes,
Mm-mm.
and you can't peep in my windows. That's another
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or my husband don't lock his car door.
Oh,
And I'm like,
Yeah.
what is wrong with you? Somebody can break in. Well, how are they going to get in? I'm like,
I'm
the
actually
garage
pretty
door.
bad at that.
The garage door opener is in there. They can get in
Yeah.
there and open our house.
yeah. I still live in the hood. I can't do that. They will rob me blind.
Yeah.
They will rob me fucking blind out here. And it's not really hood here. Like it's actually not. It's actually upper compared to the hood.
Right.
But it's bad. I've lived in a lot of rough areas. And
Your middle class hood.
Mhm.
yeah, I always say I'm a little bit of
High
redneck
class
and
hood.
yes, I always say that I'm a hoodneck, like a redneck and
Yes.
a hood person. Like I'm very country. I talk very country. I have a lot of country ways, but I'm also very hood because I fucking can't stand bugs. And when you put me in the country, I'm weird. And you put
Right.
me in the hood, I'm too country. It's like I'm
Yeah.
in between. Yeah.
Yeah, you're really in the in between.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us about your dad and this religious, because I want to hear, and the people that he left you with after knowing. for
Oh
an
my
hour.
God. He would do that randomly with people. Like, so he met these motherfuckers one day. I don't even know how he met them through the angel tree. They were giving us presents or something at a church. And they were like, I guess the man and the woman was like, yeah, we lost the kid. My dad seen a way in. And he was like, you want to babysit?
You want two more?
You want two more? These are good kids right here. And I think this was before I was bald. Because the old man was creepy as fuck, and I'll never forget this motherfucker. Like he had one leg bigger than the other, and had like a black shoe. Because I y'all know what I'm talking about. That
Yeah,
black
the
shoe?
insert.
Yeah, they had the
Yeah,
walk.
the one shoes like.
Yeah, it was big as shit. That's how I remembered it. I don't remember the mom that much, but I just remember like so. I'm really good with geographical. See, look, I'm talking stupid. Like,
Yeah,
I'm really
whatever.
good where areas like the area of
Yes.
Louisville, and I knew that we were somewhere off Terry Road here in Louisville, which is like down on Dixie Highway. And Dixie Highway is a long ass road that goes all the way to Florida, but it's a big road here in Louisville. And over there, that's where he has. It was kind of like country. It was kind of like back then. It was kind of like it wasn't like how it is now. There wasn't that many houses.
Mhm.
And that's where he took us. But it felt like they took us out to the country because that's what it felt like to us because we were in the inner city and they brought us all the way out. So and they were super religious and we had to be in bed at 7:00. I don't even know what the fuck we were doing there. Like I remember one day I blink and I'm with these old people and I don't even know where my dad is. I was like, oh, so this is life now. Okay. And they would fucking wake us up at like 4 a.m. talking about you need to eat some oatmeal. But they hated my dad like immediately because my dad abandoned us with them. Like
They were older.
Yes, they were like I know every bit of 70 and 60 and 70-year old.
Oh.
Yeah, they were old as fuck.
So Dad met them at the angel tree.
Met him at the Angel
possibly.
Tree. We
And
went
just said-
there. Yeah, here you go.
So I'm
And everything-
assuming they never babysat again.
They kept us for a month and then finally took us down to the Home of Innocence, which is like the foster care here. And then the Home of Innocence is like, oh, y'all must be repeats. Let me call y'all's family. They called our family, and then one of our uncles and aunts came and got us. But we were with them for a month, and that dude was creepy as fuck. He would make me and my brother take baths together and just watch us. He would sit there and then like would whoop us with switches for no reason. I think he was trying to like instill, well, one, he was creepy. I think he was trying to instill like some kind of structure because we were so fucking bad. You know, we didn't have no structure.
Feral.
Yeah, we were fucking feral as shit. We was like bad as shit. Like me and my brother beat the shit out of each other. It was like shameless a lot, you know?
Yes.
And I was like, he would just do creepy things. He would never say, I want to say sexually abused. Because like he would set me on his lap and like kind of rub me until he got to where he needed to get to. Yeah, he would. And I'd be like, what the fuck is this? And that was like, I used to be like used to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff happened in my life. It didn't seem unnormal to me. So a lot of people were like, damn, you say that with conviction. Like, honestly, I don't have no feelings about it because it seemed so normal to me.
Right. So
it didn't.
None of your family like came looking for you, or were you going to school? Was it summer?
I don't know what time it was. Well, I don't remember school. I don't remember why we were getting up at 4 a.m. at all.
What feed the chickens or something.
I don't know. Like, I don't know what the fuck we were. I just remember oatmeal, brown sugar oatmeal. I can't fuck with it now. I can't even eat it because of that. It reminds me of that. It takes me back to that.
That's insane.
I remember I remember them talking about their kid dying and saying that my brother, that's what it was. My brother looked like their kid.
Oh, that's what struck the conversation. And
yeah. And I remember seeing this picture. Every time he had me sit on his lap, I'd just be looking like, damn, kid, you got away from here.
Lucky you.
Lucky you. You're not getting grinded on right now, motherfucker.
That's so wrong,
so
but I totally
up.
get it. I totally get that.
That's the only way I can make it.
Yes.
Light.
Yes.
Like,
right.
I'm going to hell. That's what I say all the time. Fuck.
No, you ain't, girl. You done been through enough. You going straight to
hopefully-
heaven.
That's what I say. Like, goddamn. Right.
Your
That's what I
head-
say.
Your crown's about to be big as hell, girl.
I fucking hope. But see, like the only thing that I was real excited about, I was like, I just want to build my podcast because that's like, I feel like the podcast is like, I've always liked doing podcasts.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Because we're talkers.
Yeah, I'm a talker. And I was like, I like TikTok. And I like that people are like giving me, everybody's like, all my friends are like, oh my God, look at my friend. She's big on TikTok. I was like, I'm still poor. Don't come and try to rob me.
Well, yes.
Girl, you ain't never going to get rich from TikTok.
No.
You sure are not. Like, I think I made $316 last month, which for me, I'm a single mom. I only make $38,000 a year and I ain't got no insurance. This ain't no hate to my work because I love working there and I'm probably going to work there forever but like at the end of the day, I'm a single mom. So
right.
I was like, damn, what can I do that's legal and that won't get me in trouble? And I started making podcasts a long time ago with my true crime podcast. And me and my friend Haley, we just did that. And then I was like, I'm gonna make my own podcast. And that's when I started doing the Love Me, Don't Leave Me podcast. So I was like, well, and then that's what I started doing it to begin with. I was like, oh, well, maybe if I should tell the funny. So this is where I struggle at with the podcast. I think sometimes I want to be funny on there, but then it's like, I feel like I'm funny enough on TikTok that I can be just the normal way.
Absolutely. And if I were you, just your charisma or Riz, as they say nowadays, the kids, your Riz, I don't think it matters if you jump off and it's sad and then you go like, just do you, whatever you're feeling at the time. I think your audience is going to be captivated regardless. So if you're in a deep, story that's really sad and got a lot of trauma, but then you throw something, just do it. I mean, not that I'm a podcast expert, but I listen to a lot of podcasts. And
y'all got a good setup because I was sitting there like, damn, that's fucking fly right there.
And this is because of Kila. Hell, my ass was in my moo at home with the microphone I got from Walmart. Trying to do shit. I done interviewed people. I didn't know how to edit it. So I was like,
I do the edit. I know how to do the editing and stuff like that. But I was like, I'm going to have a podcast one day. It's going to be fancy as fuck. I still think, how the hell did they get those videos? You know how they see the TikToks where people doing their podcasts? Yeah. Like, I think, how did they do that? And then you said producer. I said, damn, they got a producer. They're fancy as fuck.
No, we can post our podcast and we don't get any views on it because TikTok don't really like for you to put another platform on theirs.
That's
So
what I thought.
they don't want you to go to YouTube or whatever. So anytime we put ours on there, we don't get very many views.
That's what I was wondering.
But
Yeah.
we also don't do a lot on there.
No, we don't.
We do it more on our other pages.
Yeah.
I need, my Facebook. I do a lot on Facebook. I make my friends go and invite all their friends, just because it gets it out there. So it's not too bad. I'm more popular. Like, I just started doing more on Instagram. I fucking hated Instagram. Now,
Yeah, we get too.
Oh, God. Now I can put music to a picture, so I'll just be on there feeling myself a lot, thinking, yeah, I look good for 40.
Hell yeah, thirst trap, bitch.
Here's a Cranberry songs when you're gone. Here I am staring creepily in the mirror at you, but here you go.
But we ain't playing no Sinead O'Connor. Hell no.
I feel like Instagram is judgy.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of bougie bitches and they're judgy and
them BBL whores. That's what they're.
they are. I don't like Instagram at all.
I started liking it a little bit, not too much though.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
I like Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Reels. I do like the Reels.
I do too.
But I don't like Instagram. I don't know. You think it would all be the same.
Yeah.
Instagram Reels are the funniest ones ever.
Well, see, I never get on there and look at theirs. I need to do that because I always just do the Facebook Reels.
They're the darkest humor. Instagram is the darkest humor. Reels are the best.
Really, I need to go on there.
See, I always think Reels are Facebook because that's where I usually post them at.
Well, they own them together now, so but they don't post them unless you.
Why do we drink these? Because we burp.
The whole time.
We burp the whole time that we're on podcast.
I was about to start burping because I had Coke today, and I was like, "Damn, I shouldn't have drunk that."
Okay, so your dad comes back again after these people take you to the.
Okay, I hate to interrupt you, but
thank you for staying around for all of our crazy.
Be sure to like, follow, and share with everyone you know.
Even them whores you don't like.
And leave us a 5-star review.
We'll see you next time.
Bye, bitches.